Oh, man. Well, happy New Year to the new NFL season, new Green Bay Packer year. Nice to see everybody all tanned up from today's weather. I'll take any questions you may have.
Hey, Rich, what did it mean for you guys to be able to keep Brandon and just kind of the stability he brings there in the kicking operation?
Yeah, obviously, keeping him we think is significant for us. His consistency that he had last year, the leadership that he started to bring to us, the more he was in our locker room. So we hope that we can get some work out of him this spring and then get us consistent play throughout the year next year. It's good to know we have our kicker coming back in this year.
What does that do for the stability of that group too? With Daniel, Matt, kind of having that battery all together.
Yeah, and we think it's a good battery. It's a young battery, except for the old man and McManus. But he's really good in the weight room. He's really good as a leader, Brandon, and so he plays like he's a young guy. I've told him I want you to think about yourself as being 22 and find a way to have the best year you've ever had. But to keep that battery together, the snap, the hold, and the kick, and then certainly the snap, the protection from Matt, and then to be able to get our punter going in the right direction. It's going to be a great year for him. Really thought he played well last year. Really, we gave up one bad play. It wasn't his fault, and so I'm expecting him to have a heck of a year.
What do you think Mecole Hardman can give you as a returner?
Well, certainly he's got great experience in the league. He's been really productive in both at punt and kick returns. So we're looking forward to him competing with some of our other guys. But it's good to have a veteran presence back there that's made big plays before.
Is Keyshawn still in that picture? Or if, I know he said after the season he probably has changed his mind since then, since the rule changed.
Well, I think I think him and I both, as well as other players, were not in a very good mood after that particular game. And going into that press conference, we've had conversations. So in my mind, he's always going to be in the mix, and we'll see how it works out. But again, it's a new year. Hopefully, we got past the part of where we played poorly and did some poor things. We never get to talk after we didn't get to talk after the San Francisco game. We didn't get to talk after the Philly game, and so here we are going into the next year. I'm still, I know what we did poorly in that last game, and so I'd like to think we're going to be as good as the next play, and try to move on and grow from the last play. I think Keyshawn hopefully will do the same thing.
What do you think of the new kickoff rule?
Again, now the thing I think that's good for us is we've had a year to go through it. We've seen some of the things that we did really well on both ends, the kickoff and the return part, and some things that we did extremely poorly on the kickoff return part. I think we as coaches have learned a lot of how we can give our guys in the return game some more tools to probably get themselves in a little bit better position. We're actually waiting for the new rule. They're going to give us 3 float players now, but we're not 100% sure where they're going to be able to line up. So I think we have a conference call on Wednesday with the special teams coaches. We're going to and the officials to kind of get exactly how the new lineup can be with that 3rd float player. But it's here. It's here to stay. The UFL switched over to it this year, so I think hopefully we'll get better at giving our guys a little bit more tools, especially in the return game. I thought we played pretty good on kickoff to get some new tools to get a little bit better in the return part, the blocking part for sure.
Rich, what do you think you got from a special teams perspective in the guys you drafted?
Well, we're all excited about the draft, top to bottom, and then there's a good group of, undrafted free agent guys. It's a little bit too hard to tell right now. We had a bunch of walkthrough stuff during the rookie mini camp, and right now today they were just, drinking through a fire hose a little bit, trying to figure out where to line up and where to go. But it's a talented group. Obviously, we have some return possibilities, and the 2 young receiver guys that we got that have both done it before. So, some of the linebacker types and defensive end type guys that we drafted are going to be expected to, compete to play some spots for us in the kicking game.
You got some openings there too. I mean, with you lost some key guys with Valentine and so on. Just how big of a void you have to fill with some of those veterans leaving in free agency.
Yeah, I think it's going on the 4th year now that we've talked about that, right? Especially in the kicking game. Special teams guys have to be ready to adapt and adjust, and new guys have to come a part of what we're trying to do, and they have to understand the standard, understand the expectation of how they're expected to play. We've been fortunate here that everyone's played some role for us in the kicking game. Usually we've had starters that have played anywhere from 2 to 3 phases for us, and I think we expect to keep doing that. But we'll have enough people to evaluate that can compete for us in those positions of places that we lost guys.
Can Welch and Simmons help you in that regard?
We hope so. We were excited about getting him. I loved him coming out of school. I think a lot of us did. We followed his career a little bit. He's a big, fast, physical guy that can run, and he's made plays before, so we're hoping to put him in position to help him help us. So we're excited about having him.
Was he used in a lot of different ways in New York? I mean, it sounded like he had a pretty good experience playing special teams with the Giants. Was that what?
I think
your
so.
assessment
The
was?
tape we watched of him coming out of New York, he played special teams the last 2 years for them and did some good things. He had the big block field goal, where he jumped over the center and with a gap made a big play. And he's made some other plays as well on defense also, even if you go back to Arizona. And I remember him, specifically coming out and all the plays he made, being a guy that moved around all over the place on defense at Clemson. So we're excited about having him here. He said, last week was good, and today was another good start for him.
Rich, I think it was the day after Nate Hobbs signed here, he told a story about how you, quote-unquote, changed his life after he got arrested. You brought him in. What are you guys getting in him in both person and football player?
Yeah, Nate, again, it was his rookie year. We went through it's a long time ago, I guess, but I just think he's a really talented football player. He's a lot bigger than you think until you get up there and shake his hand. He can really run. He's a physical player. He's got great length. And, he's played multiple positions. He's played in the slot. He's played outside. For us in a kicking game his rookie year, he was all over the place on kickoff, played outside at flyer on punt. So all that being said, what you've seen at him on defense, we've seen some of those in the kicking game as well. I just think we're getting a really good guy that loves football and loves the opportunity to compete. And, he's back with Keyshawn. That was a good thing at one time. And now we have certainly the leadership of X and the play of X back there. So we're expecting really good things for Nate.
What brought you back again? Was it an easy decision, or was there some contemplation on your part?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had tremendous conversations with Coach LaFleur and the direction we're going, and I felt like I've failed him at times in some of the things or in the ways in which we've played. So I have a certain standard and expectation of how we're supposed to play in the kicking game, and I'm really excited about being here and being back with him and having the opportunity to win a championship. It's the only reason really we get up and go to work anymore in the NFL. There's really one game. You want to go and win that one game. And fortunately, I've had a chance to do that. And now once you do that, then I just think you come to work every day with the mindset of that's where you're going and that's what you're going to do. And that's my obsession. That's my personal drive. That's my personal ambition. And I feel like this is a great place to do that. And I owe it to him to give him my best all the time. So I'm excited about being here. And I'm excited about the opportunity in front of us and the team that we have and the direction we're going and the path that Matt's forging. So I'm excited to be on it with him.
How do you feel like you failed them?
Well, I just think we've given up, 4 big plays in 3 years and 3 seasons. And I think each one of those plays, it just happens to be so magnified because of the way we play that it's, to my thoughts, it kind of costs us the game. We played really good in the San Francisco 49er game in the playoffs, but yet Keyshawn did fumble, although we recovered it, but we missed a big field goal, right? Go to Philly, we start the game, we got a fumble, and then we got a missed field goal, right, by a guy that hadn't missed really all year. In the Chicago game, we give up a big play, which we should have been ready for in that game. So it ends up being at the end, we kick a field goal, but we still didn't win the game. So I just have a high standard for what we're trying to do and the way in which we're trying to do it. And I feel like that's kind of how every game, we have a one-play mentality in the kicking game. You don't get 3 downs to make it right on offense or defense. You get one shot to punt that ball, you get one shot to kick it off, return it, and so on. And so I think in that manner or that sense or that standard, that's kind of where I feel like we've failed them at times,
On the flip side, how much do you help in-game decisions? I mean, obviously, you've got your assistant head coach title, and we see Matt talking to you a lot when there's decisions to be made. How does that operation work?
I think we've grown together better as time has gone on, as the seasons have gone on, and so hopefully this will have a chance to, be our best in that manner. We have a lot of conversations before we get to that, as practices are going. But he's got a lot going on, calling the plays and having a pulse of what's going on in the game and defensively and all that. So I think our relationship has gotten much better over the 3 seasons, and I expect it to keep growing in that direction as well.
I know Isaiah had more defensive responsibilities last year, but still, how valuable is it to have him back, McDuffie, just with what he, the knowledge base there?
Yeah, again, I remember he was one of the first calls I made after watching all the tape when I first got here. So he's a cornerstone, I think, here is what we're trying to develop as far as teams guys, and a guy that goes above and beyond for the team. He's always putting the team above himself, and so it's good to have him, knowing he's going to be around for a while. I expect him to be a great leadership. He's always the power of example by the way in which he does things. He always does everything right. So it's exciting to have him back, especially not only on the field, but in the locker room, his presence and the way in which he goes about his business. It's really good for the young guys to watch him.
Rich, Bill asked you why you came back. How much longer do you want to keep doing this?
Yeah, I don't even really know why that keeps coming up. I appreciate the question, and a lot more people seem to know about my age than I do. Coming to work and seeing the players fills my cup. And, I always say this. I say that the number one job of an assistant coach is to serve the head coach, serve the players, teach the players how to serve each other. When I don't feel that way in the morning about coming to work, I'm just not going to come. But I don't get that sense. I just, all I think about is coming to work and being around players, I mean, it's a fun job when players are in the building, you know what I mean? I guess there's a bunch of X and O's and stuff you do, evaluation process and all that in the off season. But when you get to come to work and you get to see the players and you can draw energy from them and you can teach them how to serve each other and you can put a plan together and then watch it come to fruition, or you get a guy like Nate Hobbs and he says something about how he feels about a coach or a relationship you may build with a player, then it's why you come to work. And until that wanes, I've been married, been with her 42 years, and I don't think she wants me home. So that's another good reason to stay.
You guys good?
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
to see everybody.
Yep, you too.
How's everybody's off season? You guys doing good?
I've been waiting in this room for the last 3 months for you to explain the 3 different linebacker positions to us, like you said you would.
No one ever got in touch with me. I said anytime they wanted. I never got a call. I never got a text. No one ever said you want to get together and watch stuff.
There's a lot of
So
off-season left.
what?
A lot of time left in the off-season.
Yeah, like 19 days. And we got 19 more days with the players. You guys are late. I mean, the perfect time would have been February, March. I'd have been happy to talk to you. I would blame him too. There's no doubt about it. And even if he were here, I'd blame him. All right, well,
Or just make sure we all have your number.
I do have your sweatshirt. It's in my office. I've had that there for about 2.5 months.
You don't have my number then.
No, I don't. I asked for it. Walrus wouldn't give it to me. But I really do have your sweatshirt, so I got to get it to you. We'll have Walrus hand deliver that one. So I thought you'd be wearing some teams today, but I got you a BC one. Sorry, I didn't get anyone else one. But all right, what do we got?
So do you think either of the 2 draft picks, the edge guys, can help you rush right off the bat?
I hope so. We'll find out. We'll find out. As we get going in the training camp and preseason, and hopefully we can bring them along. But they're 2 guys we liked a lot in the process. I'm very happy that we drafted them. But I think it creates competition, and we'll see. I mean, I hope we can get as much as possible out of them and get some good rush out of them. But they're good players. They both have certain skill sets that we like, and I think they have versatility to them, which we like. Really good guys, smart guys, very competitive, fun to watch their college tape. But we'll find out. I mean, as we really get going now, I mean, there's really not much that we're doing right now other than some individual movement stuff, so it's really hard to tell right off the bat.
Is there a place on the game day roster for a guy who's just a special teamer and then a designated rusher?
Who are you talking about? Anyone specific?
Yeah, the 5th round pick.
Oliver?
Yeah.
I don't see him like that. I don't see him as a DPR and a special teamer. I see him as a guy who has a skill set to play linebacker and to rush off the edge. So I think he can do both. I think he can be an on-the-ball backer, and I believe he can be an edge rusher in certain situations, and I do believe he can be a defensive end in situations. And I think as you guys have gotten to know me, it's about taking the skill set and putting it to use rather than saying, this is our defense, where is he going to play? So we got to get creative and figure out what he can do well. How much can he handle in his first year, right? How much can we teach him? So we're trying to put him in this room and then put him in this room, and he's a sharp guy, but we don't want to overload him so then he gets on the field and he's thinking, because then he's not going to be playing fast and he's not going to be ready to play. Does that make sense? So I think it's our job, though, to get him ready to see what he can do to help us win football games. But I don't just see him as a DPR and a special teamer. I've watched him closely, and I see a skill set that we have to figure out how to put it to use. And that excites me, right? That's the fun thing about coaching.
Jeff, what was your reaction with Barron, you know, with him actually being
Being
here,
here?
for the draft, and then just kind of getting to know him a little bit here the last couple weeks?
Yeah, that was a funny one. We were up there, we drafted him, congratulated him. It was really loud. I thought he was home. So we're on the phone with him, congratulating him. I had no idea he was here. Hung up the phone, we're all slapping high fives, and it's like me, Matt, and Goody, and a bunch of other people are standing in the draft room, and we watch it like on the screen, right? Because it's cool to see when they announce him. And Goodell gets up there and he says, this is a special one because he's here. And everybody's like, whoa, what? He's here? We had no idea he was here. So then we see him walk out. So I think Matt said, we got to get him over here. So that was cool because we had no idea. And then that was really nice because he's here, his family's here, they're emotional, which you usually don't get to see, right? So that's a really cool side of it because it's fun to see how excited they were. Then he goes into the stadium's yelling, he does a Lambeau leap. I mean, that was a really cool deal. So that was cool to be part of. He got here for rookie minicamp, and they just got back today, so I've spent a little bit of time with him, so that will start picking up now.
Jeff, how do you guys envision using Nate Hobbs, and how does he fit in with what else you have in that room and moving guys around?
Yeah, Nate, I see Nate can play outside and Nate can play inside. So we're gonna have him do both. His film was, when you're getting ready for free agency and you're evaluating tape, it's one thing that you love about him. He's had a lot of success inside, and I thought his tape outside was equally as good. He is competitive, he's tough, he is physical, he plays the game fast. You can tell he loves it. It just jumps off the tape. I don't know if you guys watched any of it, but it certainly jumps off the tape the way the guy plays, and he's been a great addition. And he does give you that versatility where you can move him around. And again, I'm a big fan of that.
Micah Robinson in the 7th, and then you guys signed Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like about those two guys?
Micah had a good year this year at Tulane. He's got great foot speed. He sees the game really well. He anticipates things. He's very instinctive. I think he has a ton of upside, and I'm excited to get to work with him. And then Baldwin from UNLV, he's a guy, when you watch his tape, he's another guy. He plays safety on the field. He plays nickel. He's physical. He'll come up in the run game. He's got really good ball skills, as Micah does, which I'm a big fan of. Both of those guys have a lot of ball production in college, which to me is, as you guys know, is probably the most important thing, is taking away the football. So excited to get to work with them. Really, truthfully, we just haven't had much time yet. They just got back today, and we just had one workout. So as we get more in, I'll be able to let you know more.
You guys finished 5th in total defense, 6th in scoring defense. He kept you guys in the playoff game with 4 turnovers. How do you view one of your defense, and what are your expectations and demands for your? I know it's early, but what are your expectations for year 2?
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, you say that, I feel like the season was so long ago. So we've kind of moved so far on. And I mean, this offseason, looking at what we did, looking at what we did well, looking at really how we evolved and where we started and where we ended, really to pick up and where we're going, right? So there's a lot that goes into that. First, I would say, you know, I'm proud of the way the guys played in year one, right? The thing that I'm most proud of, I do believe we got better. And I think we played our best football late in the season. And that was the most important thing to me. Year one, you're figuring out the system, you're figuring out the players. Can we get better each week? But probably the biggest thing is, I thought we were playing really hard at the end of the year. Like, we were really physical. We were really running to the ball. Guys were playing confident. Guys were communicating. And I just felt like we came alive. And that's probably the thing. Throw out the numbers, the statistics, where we were. I think we played harder than our opponents at the end of the year, and we were more physical. And that's what I'm most proud of and appreciate the most of the guys. Expectations, you know, in a perfect world, you want to get back to where you left off as fast as possible and build from there. So how fast can we do that, right? We have guys who have played in the system. We have some new pieces we need to add. We need to evolve. We can't just do the same thing, say, here's the playbook, this is what we're running. No, we're a different team. It's a different year. Offenses are going to evolve. We have to evolve. I would say I would like us to be more consistent, okay? There's a lot of things we did do well, but I think the consistency needs to improve. Certainly, I need to improve, looking at myself personally, how I called games, what I called, when I called it, how I got to certain things. Can I get there faster? My relationship with the players in year two, I feel like there's kind of a trust built, so we can kind of, the relationship, I think, can get even better. But to me, it's how fast can we get to where we finish the season and then build from there and evolve and be more consistent.
Jeff, from your perspective, why the change at D-line coach, and how'd you settle on Covington to replace that role?
Yeah, I'll go more into the second part more than the first. We interviewed a lot of guys, a lot of really good candidates. As soon as the season was done, that's, you know, Matt, myself, and a few other coaches, we sat down and we interviewed a bunch of really good coaches. You know, the style of DeMarcus, how he has taught in a lot of different systems and a lot of different schemes. They've done a lot over there. You know, they're with Coach Belichick and some of the stuff he's done in New England. They've done a lot, and I like the fact that he can coach a bunch of different techniques. He's been involved with a lot of different fronts. I love his demeanor. I love the way he coaches. I love the relationship he has with his players. We did our homework on him. I kind of knew him when I was at BC. They came to practices. I went to practices, so I had a chance to watch him a little bit. Very, very smart, big picture guy, has been a coordinator, right? So he can bring some new ideas, some fresh ideas. I'm big on trying to stay ahead of things, right? So he brings some of that, you know, from their scheme, maybe some of the stuff that we can add in that fits what we do. He just, to me, felt like a great hire, great person, character. And I'm glad that he's here. And I think he's done a really good job. I've sat in a bunch of those meetings now. He's a really good teacher. He's got a great progression on how he teaches. And I think he's very easy to understand, and I think he's done a very good job with those guys.
Matt has said a couple times since the season ended that the way you guys ended up having to rush the quarterback was not how you envisioned it at the start of the season. Would you like to get back to just rushing a traditional 4, or do you want to incorporate some of the exotic stuff you guys did last year again?
Yeah, we'll incorporate it for sure. I think that's one area that we need to coach better, and I think we need to see that translate to the field. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things that we did, you know, looking back and really spending time in the last few weeks that, you know, I kind of thought would go differently, but then you evolve, right? I mean, the exotics had success, so we ran them. People will have that film now, so they'll be studying the exotics in the off-season. So again, we just can't sit here and say, well, it worked last year. It probably won't work as well, right? Because people are studying it right now. So can we rush with 4? Can we rush with 3? But we have to get better. And I'm talking to myself. I need to be better this year. Our coaches need to coach better. Our players need to play better. We just don't want to stay the same. We want to be better. We lost in the playoffs. That wasn't good enough. You know, we felt like we could have played better, even in that last game when the score was 16-10 and we gave up a field goal. I get it. We did some good things in that game, but we could have had another stop, right? So I could have done a better job there. And then who knows what would have happened. So you got to look at it from that lens. And you know, if we're rushing with 4 early in the season, does that mean we're going to be rushing well at the end of the season with 4? No, like we gotta figure it out as we go. But I think we'll be able to do that better. I'm confident there.
How have these last few months for you differed, where you have a body of work to look at this past season versus a year ago, and you're coming in new and implementing a new defense?
Oh, way different. I mean, last year in the offseason, we were just getting to know each other as a staff. We were trying to figure out who we were going to coach. We were trying to figure out what we were going to be schematically. We're sitting here installing it for the first time. So you take that whole entire offseason, and when the players aren't here especially, and you start watching our film now, what we did, and you do it with a clear mind. Like, we self-scout a lot during the season, right? So, for example, I'll go back before we're about to play a game, and I'll review the last couple of weeks and see what the calls were, how we were attacked. So you try to see what they're looking at. It's a lot easier to do when you have all this time, and you can really pick it apart, and you can really talk about it, and you can really group it all together and see what worked and what didn't, and who did what well, right? So that part's been really, really nice. And what's really nice now is when we're with the players, we're watching our tape. We have all this time to sit there and watch what we did and show them what we did well, and show them how, you know, we need to get better in certain areas. It's like you and I sitting down, and here was your one-on-one tape with your position coach. Coach, what do I need to improve? Well, I don't have to tell you. I can show you now. Like, that's a huge difference, right? And I can sit in front of the room and say, hey, guys, we did this well, but then show these clips and say, we got to fix this, or we're not going to be any good next year. So that's been awesome. I think the whole key, though, is you got to get the guys in year 2 to go in with the same beginning mindset that, you know, even though I might have heard this all year, I'm going to listen like I never heard it before and maybe pick up on some things that I didn't really know or understand. That's the key right now. We got to push the guys to have that mindset, like, pretend you're hearing this for the first time again and continue to hit the little details.
How do you continue playing high-level run defense when you lose your big guy in the middle and you replace him with a couple of late-round guy and a couple of free agents?
Well, we're pretty good in the interior. I mean, Devontae and Kenny, Carl, Colby, all those guys inside. I mean, I feel good about our interior guys. Even take away the addition of those guys, hopefully we'll get something out of them. But we got pretty good guys on the inside of our defense that I'm confident we can continue to do that. And if we have to change up and do some things different schematically with them, we will. But we got a good group in there.
I imagine we won't be asking you this season about what Edgerrin Cooper needs to do to get on the field more. What is the next step for him after the rookie year he had?
Consistency. You know, we talked and sometimes joked about, you know, he might have had that gap, but he made the play over there, right? Like, there was a toss run over there that instead of going over the top of the blocker, somehow he ran underneath the blocker and still made a TFL. Now it's getting the details down. Now it's lining up exactly where he needs to line up and doing it over and over and over again, because then he's going to show up faster and he's going to make more plays and he's going to become a more consistent player. And have you guys seen him at all lately?
No.
I mean, when you see him now, he looks different. I mean, he's bigger now. I mean, he's got to be close to 240 pounds. I mean, this is year 2 from him. For him, he knows what it's going to take. He knows what he has to do now to stay healthy. Because as much as we talked about not having him on the field last year, he was injured quite a bit, where he missed a lot of time and didn't practice and couldn't play. Now he knows what it's going to take to stay healthy in this long season. And you can tell he dedicated that time and took care of his body, and he changed his body. And now when you sit with him in that room, he's locked in and he's focused. And now he knows what he's doing. Your first rookie year can kind of be like survival mode a little bit too. So he just needs to be more consistent. He's got to stay healthy and, continue to improve. And he's a guy that we're really excited about because he can do a lot of different things too.
Last one, guys.
Jeff, up here.
Yeah.
You talked about your building a relationship with the players. What did you do this offseason to build that relationship with Matt, knowing that, during the season, your first year, you kind of are getting to know each other and what you guys are doing during practice and during games. What was that like? Any conversations, any moments you felt like you two got closer?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, which I really appreciate and respect from him, is as we went through all the cut-ups with the defensive staff, he was in on all those meetings, which I think is really important, which obviously takes more time from his day, but he sat in all of them. And we bounced ideas off of him. I bounced ideas off of him. I asked him what he thought the offense was trying to do here. What do you think they would try to do going forward? What he thinks about certain pressure, certain coverages. We talked a lot more football because I wasn't just meeting with the staff trying to implement the defense, right? So we had a lot more football conversation, and I think that helped a lot. But we spent a lot of time during the season together too. I mean, we never leave the building in the season, so we're always here. But just more football, more bouncing ideas off of each other. So I think that helped.
Hey Jeff, if you give my sweatshirt to Claire, can we get one more question?
You can have another question as long as she doesn't yell.
Okay.
Because this is the only time you guys get me until like
Yeah.
training camp, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, she's gonna get, Wallers is gonna yell at her.
Well, he can yell at me.
Okay, it depends on this question though. If I just walk out, then,
I'll know, yeah, but look, throughout the season, you were nothing but extremely positive about Ja. I know you like the other guys you got, you like CV, you like Keyshawn, you're interested now in what you have in Hobbs. But what does it do for your defense if somehow the people above your pay grade make things work out with him? What would it do for you to have him back?
yeah, I think we'll leave that one up to see what happens rather than talk on any hypotheticals to answer that fairly.
I still have to ask him. So.
No, I respect the question, and I hope you respect my answer on that one. Yeah, so I'd rather not talk about hypotheticals, and whenever everything pans out and we figure out who's here, we will do the very best we can and put them in great positions and making plays, and when I find out, we'll do that. All right? And I'll still get you your sweatshirt. I'll give it to Wallers, though. Everybody else good?
Well, Jeff, I have
No, go ahead.
whether it's through guys you drafted or through free agents, it seems like you have a lot of Swiss Army knives on defense, guys that can play in different positions. Without giving anything away, of course, how much more creative do you feel like this defense can be now with having guys that can play so many different places?
It depends how fast they can learn and how fast they can pick things up, especially some of those younger guys. But I think the more versatility you have, I think it helps. I mean, I think situationally on third down, I think it helps. I think as you get into the red zone, it helps. I think you can come up with some stuff to be creative and really put pressure on the offense based on personnel groupings. Are we playing with 5 down linemen? Are we playing with 4 down linemen? Who counts as the big? Do we have 3 down linemen? Is he a big? Is he an off-the-ball backer? I just think the more pieces you have, is he a nickel? Is he a safety? Do you have 3 safeties on the field? Do you have 2 safeties and 3 corners on the field? I think it makes them think, and I think we can simplify it so it's simple for us and try to be more complicated for the offense. And where it also helps is if guys go down and they get injured, you have guys who have played with experience that you can kind of move them around. So I like it. I'm a fan. Does anybody else have anyone?
Claire's gonna have an aneurysm over there if we get another question in.
Steno can wait. Does anybody have any more? No? All right.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah, appreciate it. What do you think you could get from that new interior line with Banks and Elton and however it shakes out?
Yeah, no, we got some really good competition across the entire offensive line. Love Banks' physicality. I think he's really going to step up our game there. And just a good veteran presence. I think, is a guy that we're going to lean on in a lot of different situations. But I'm excited about having him in there to up our physicality for sure.
So what does Elton think of playing center?
I think he's open to it. The conversation that we've had with him, he's got a lot of experience there, and he was open to it, excited about it, so ready to go.
So that's not why he's not participating so far in the offseason?
No, he's here for or not here for other reasons than that.
Adam, can you have 4 guys just work at left tackle exclusively, and
Exclusively?
those guys?
Yeah, that's typically not how we do things. You could, but we'll have guys focus on spots, and then kind of have a secondary position for him. That's what we typically do. And, you know, if it works out, whoever the top 2 or 3 guys are, that's kind of where you focus on. But you move guys around just to see where they're best at, and then it helps them learn kind of the entire offense a little bit better when you have to play multiple positions too.
You still want to get Morgan and Dalton, give them a chance?
Yeah.
At left tackle?
Yeah, we're going to have, again, a lot of competition there at both tackle positions. I think, you know, with trying to find who our best 5 are, however it shakes out. Left tackle, right tackle, obviously right guard position. There's a lot of good competition, and I think, you know, the guys we've added, plus, you know, just the guys getting older and getting more experience, it's going to be really interesting to see kind of how all this shakes out.
So, I know this league is built on competition, but how has Rashid kind of answered the challenge? So, I mean, he obviously answered the challenge when he went against Yash a couple years ago.
Yep.
Like, how is, you know, I could see a guy saying, hey, I've started 2 straight years, you guys still want to give him away my job.
Yeah, no, he's been great, and he understands kind of what this league's about, and it's every day you got to earn your spot, and that's kind of it's what I like about the competition that we have in our offense right now. Is just everyone's going to have to show up and play well in order to keep their spot, because there's a bunch of good young players that are hungry.
What do you think of the first round pick?
Golden?
Yeah.
Yeah, like him. Like him. Looks fast. Yeah, we'll see. Once we get out there, obviously OTAs, you'll kind of get a feel for him. But I'm really excited to kind of see as we progress through training camp and all that stuff, the plays he's going to make. I'm fired up about it.
And same idea, like with Belton, what do you think of just, you know, what he could present for you guys, and when he's that big?
Yeah, he's a big guy, but he moves really well. Just watching him in drills and stuff in our rookie minicamp, I was really pleased with just watching him move laterally and things like that. So I was impressed with him, just, you know, getting my first glimpse of him on the field in person.
Thanks. With Savion, since we're just going to go through all the draft picks here, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
How do you incorporate his unique or varied skill set?
Yeah, he's a guy that is really interesting, and you know, you could come up with a zillion different ways to use him in your offense. So that's one guy I'm really fired up about. But I think the good thing now is, like, we have a good core of older wideouts, and then we got these 2 young guys coming in that are really special. So it's not like they have to start and be the guy at a certain position. We can kind of put them in different places, see where they excel, and, you know, kind of move them along from there. But I'm excited about a lot of the different things that we can do with Savion for sure. Whether it's, you know, handing him the ball or, you know, his routes down the field. He's a guy that can make some plays.
How do you go about, Adam, with a guy like that, or even Golden for that matter, but just figuring out how much they can handle?
Yeah, you start small, and then just kind of keep adding it until you think it's too much. And then the guys, the one good thing about those guys, they're both very intrinsically motivated. They're driven. They work hard off the field. So, you know, they'll do whatever they can off the field to make sure they're ready to go.
Steno, with that versatility, Matt made a comment about Reed when we talked to him last about all the hits he took and wanting him to be fresher down the stretch. He obviously didn't have a whole lot of production. Can Williams take some of that if he's up to the task?
I think both those guys can, for sure.
Okay.
And yeah, it's kind of like, you know, with a running back, if you got 2 guys that can carry the load, they definitely, you know, it gives you more juice at the end. So I think that's definitely a case, hopefully, that we can, you know, get going as the season rolls on, that these younger guys can get a little more touches and kind of spread it out.
I know it's way early, but how does Reed just look to you in this? And I mean, he was so good. He led you.
Yeah, he looks great. He looks like the same Jaden, you know, fast, explosive, smile on his face. I think, you know, maybe he just got worn out. A lot of hits. I know he had that shoulder injury in the last game, obviously, so, but he looks great now.
What's next for Tucker Kraft going into year 3? It feels like there's so much opportunity.
There is, you know, and that's one thing we spent some time on this offseason, is just kind of where we can, you know, get him to take the next step. And I think just his route running ability, getting him on more individual things like that, and yeah, just kind of growing him there. I think he did a really good job in the run game, and that's one thing, hopefully he can just keep improving there to be a dominant player up front. But yeah, just trying to find different ways to get him the ball. That's going to be the big thing for us.
Stenner, you guys obviously felt Jordan Morgan's, the spot at which he could most likely start was right guard. What makes you think he can be a successful NFL left tackle, even though he did play there in college?
I mean, the one thing about him is he has elite athleticism. Like, guy moves well, he's fast, he can redirect. So I think now is just a good time to put him out there and see how he does and just watch him compete.
And how much does the run scheme that you use this year going to depend on who you actually play on the offensive line? Given, Morgan might be a different type of guy.
I think that'll play a little bit, just as far as, can these guys do certain things better than others. I think a lot of it has to do with the running back you have as well. And I think, with Josh, he's more of a downhill guy, and I think that's kind of why we've shifted a little bit as the season progressed, with just more of a downhill run scheme. But we're pretty multiple, and we're going to keep it that way. And I think all these guys have the ability to do whatever we can ask across the board.
Steno, when you were here in camp as a player many moons ago, you were a college left tackle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where did they move you to?
Yeah, went to guard my first camp, and then I was kind of a guy that backed up at every spot, because when you're a lower roster guy, you got to be able to wear many hats. I think that's what helped me in coaching, when you learn everything and have to know it all. So, yeah.
So the reason obviously, they've been doing this here for many years, right? Sitting and laying all the way down the list.
Mm-hmm.
We know that college teams put their best offensive lineman a lot of times at left tackle, not always, but a lot.
Yeah.
How hard is that conversion? Because you're potentially moving
Yeah,
left
it's
tackles all the time around here.
when you the further you go inside, the faster things happen. So you just have to kind of change up how you play, as far as like tackles are used to taking pass sets and kind of feeling. You get a little time to see what's going on, then you can react. Where when you move inside, now everything obviously is happening quicker. You got to be stouter with your sets. You got to be quicker with your hands, all that stuff. So there is a transition for sure when guys move inside. Obviously, guys that are more athletic, like Jordan, compared to myself back in the day, it's probably a little bit easier. You know what I mean? So it takes a little bit of getting used to, though. That's for sure.
Besides staying healthy and not injuring his knee in week 1, what does Jordan Love need to do to get back to the level? Not that he wasn't at the level you guys need him at last year, and I'm not saying he has to be what he was in the second half of 23, but to get where you guys need him to be.
No, I think that's a good question. And for him, it's consistency in everything he does, improving accuracy, improving his footwork, and just really taking command of just another step in the offense. And one thing, we talked to with all these guys is just doing a great job communicating with each other, quarterback to receiver, quarterback to O-line, and just making sure everyone's on the same page with each other, not necessarily coach to player, but player to player. And I think that's where you get the best teams, is those player-led teams where guys are really on the same page out on the field, for sure.
You have so much versatility on the offensive line. Is there ever a balance between obviously finding that best 5, but where a player might be best suited in a specific
Yeah,
position?
I mean, that's always what you're looking at, number one, like you said, getting your best 5 out there, but are we better with this guy at tackle, with this guy at guard, or whatever it is? That's the big question that you're always trying to figure out, not only at O-line, but every position, really.
How do you mix it? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. How does what Matthew Golden ran in college under Sarkisian overlap with what you guys did at all?
There's definitely some carryover for sure. And I think him going from Houston and then going to Texas for a year definitely helped him in terms of, helping him be more ready for a pro-style offense for sure. So there is definitely some carryover of stuff that he did in college at Texas to here for sure.
Go to Wes, I'll go next.
With Lloyd, what have you seen from him this offseason? What do you think that could give you guys? If you can
Yeah, we're still, kind of, I'm excited about this OTAs and training camp just to see him get out there and run around and see what he can do. So he's been here all off-season working hard, and yeah, he's got the speed, he's got the size, so I'm excited to see kind of him get out there and make some plays.
When the run game was great, the cliche is that the play action passing game should kind of go along with it. Do you think there's more to gain there, play action wise, and how do you get more effective / explosive at that?
Yeah, I think, having Musgrave back is going to help us. In 12 personnel, you can do a lot of good stuff out of 12 personnel as far as the play action game. And then just his juice and speed down the field is definitely just another area of our offense that we really have kind of scratched the surface on. But yeah, we're always looking for different ways to amp up that play pass game. So that's one thing I think this offseason we're really going to focus on for sure.
Steno, we must ask Matt 10 questions about play action after the season ended. Was that a priority this offseason to figure out better ways to fit what you guys like to do in the play action game and what your running back likes in terms of a system? You ran more duo with Josh, et cetera.
Yeah, I think so. And again, like having more tight ends available helps you just as far as blocking on the edge. When you put your tight ends one-on-one with a defensive end in a lot of play passes, that's not a good situation a lot of times. Tucker does a good job, but now if you can have another tight end and kind of double team the guy, then that makes it a little bit easier to get the ball down the field, obviously.
Adam, we're going to talk to Sean Mannion on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of what's that been like working with him the past year, and now him,
Yeah.
moving over that?
It's been great. Obviously, Sean he's got a lot of experience in the NFL. Super smart, great work ethic, and a really good communicator with the guys. So I think he's a really good resource now that Tom's gone. To just have another guy who's played a lot of football in the NFL, has that experience, and there's just a different voice for the guys. I think that's always good too, to get a new guy in the room just to have different ideas, have different ways of presenting things, and he's done a great job so far.
Does Luke Getsy count as a new guy in the room, or is he a new old guy in the room?
For some guys, he is a new guy in the room. Yeah, for Malik and Sean, yeah, he's new. But no, that's great to have Getsy back for sure. And yeah, he's always a good resource for us too, definitely.
Is he working with quarterbacks, wide receivers?
Yeah, QBs. He's in the QB room right now, but kind of all around too.
Steno, we almost didn't have you in the room. What did you take from those experiences of interviewing, and how does that, I'm sure you're thrilled to still be back, but what does that do for you going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it was a weird thing because being from Wisconsin, and just being back home, it's one thing, in coaching, you're traveling, you're moving your family around a lot. So being here is a special thing. Obviously, being a part of the Green Bay Packers is just a lifetime opportunity for me. That's one thing I'll never take for granted every single day. So going out and just exploring those opportunities, I was very thankful for Matt for letting me do that because he didn't have to. And then just the opportunity to interview for a head coaching spot, that's an honor too, just to have consideration. I learned a lot from those, all those interviews, just from the different organizations, the different things you got to think about, especially to be a head coach, all the organizational structures and things that you haven't really had to think about. So it was a very worthwhile experience. And we'll see if that ever comes up again.
2 more, please.
Steno, I know he's a fourth quarterback, but, Taylor and what he's been doing, just obviously being a lone quarterback at rookie minicamp, you talk about Sean and Getsy working with the QBs. What have they said about what they like about him and what he could bring to this group?
Yeah, he's been cool. Obviously, we just had him for a short time with the rookie minicamp, but he was impressive. Just, you give him a little bit of information before he shows up, and he was very prepared, very smart kid. We brought him in for a 30 visit, during the draft process. And the one thing I like about him, he's got great arm strength. He's raw for sure, but he's going to, put a lot of competition in the QB room, and I think that's important for every position room to just have a good base of competition so that you can see, it brings out the best in all the players. But yeah, I'm interested to see kind of how he develops over the next few weeks and months and see what happens.
So I know Matt said at the end of the season he'd like Jordan to be a little more vocal in his leadership. Have you seen any evidence of that in
Yeah,
a short time?
yeah, there's been good communication between him and all the other position groups. So yeah, I think that's a big step that I think is really gonna help us, you know, as we go forward this season, for sure.